What's going on, everybody? My name is Michael Weer, and today we are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. That's right, not the original Texas Chainsaw and not the most recent one, which you could find on my channel. I did a review for that. It's not a very good movie. But I've been wanting to see this movie because I did rewatch the original 1978 version back at Christmas time when I had COVID, and then skip forward to February of this year. I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre requel, we'll call it. The reboot sequel. I hate that term, but whatever. They did that and it was awful. And then I realized I've never seen the reboot from 2003 starring Jessica Biel and several other people, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to do a review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. Let's do the review.
Who's killing who?
What's wrong with you people?
Oh, my.
And so, guys, as I said before, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was rebooted completely, produced by Michael Bay, not directed. It's actually directed by the same guy that directed Friday the 13th Killer Cut that came out in 2009, which is interesting because Michael Bay also produced that. So they were collaborated. And the other similarity I'll get into before I get into the review is that both the Leatherface in this movie and the Jason in Friday the 13th, both of them are massive human beings, which at the same time, Rob Zombie's Halloween was coming out, and he was a massive human being as well. And it's like there was a moment in the 2000s where they were like, okay, we don't want these guys to be skinny, unintimidating guys. We want these to be hulking, massive men. And it worked for those movies. It's actually one of the things I like the most about this movie is just how terrifying Leatherface's presence is. I mean, in the original movie, he was just like this fat guy with a mask made of other people. And yeah, he was scary for other reasons, but he was never intimidating. And then if you get into other Texas Chainsaw movies, I think in one movie he's played by a woman. So there's that. But in this movie, he is a hulking individual, which is fun to watch. But let's talk about the synopsis of this movie. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of comparisons to 1978 since this is a reboot of that movie. So bear with me on that. The movie opens just like the original movie with 5 friends traveling in a van down some old Texas back roads. They are on their way to a Leonard Skinner concert. Now, in the original movie, they were just on the way to some property that one of their families owned. But in this movie, yeah, they're on their way to a Leonard Skinner concert, and they pick up a hitchhiker, just like in the original movie. But instead of the original movie, it being a crazy guy, it's a girl who seemingly is in distress. Once they bring her into the van, she actually kills herself, and then they're like, well, we needed to get her to the closest sheriff. So they go stop at this barbecue and gas station, which I don't know if that's a thing in the South, but all right, barbecue and gas, which is the same way it was in the original movie. And so you're sitting there waiting for the store owner. It's actually a woman in this one. So again, a little bit of a change. Woman's like, hey, I'll call the sheriff. Sheriff wants to meet you out by the old mill, so you're going to have to go out there. All right, now, for me, if I was one of these characters, that's the biggest red flag. Right there, I'd have been like, nope, we're not going. And a few of the characters in this movie actually do say that, but Jessica Biel's character is like, nah, we should do it. In fact, she gets them into a lot of trouble in this movie. Moving on, they get to the old mill, and the sheriff's not there. And they're all like, well, let's just dump the body and go. Like, if the sheriff doesn't care, we don't care. Which makes sense to me. But Jessica Biel's character's like, no, we should stay. I'm starting to wonder if she's like this in real life. So they stay, they're waiting for the sheriff, and then they decide, you know what? Let's go explore. So 2 of them branch off, and of course, they go to the house where Leatherface lives. And Leatherface starts his night of terror on those friends. Now, I'm not going to give away too many other things because, yes, while this movie is almost 20 years old, I don't want to spoil things. But I do want to tell you things I like about the movie, things I dislike about the movie. Now, I've already touched on this once. The things I like the most about this movie is probably Leatherface himself. I mean, the guy is hulking. He is a presence in this movie. I really enjoy him in this movie. I like that he uses different weapons, whether it be the hammer, whether it be the chainsaw, the chains, whatever he uses. I like that he kind of just uses what's around him, which is where I'm going to make another comparison to the Friday the 13th 09 version, because that Jason did the exact same thing. He would just kind of pick up weapons that were around. He used the bow and arrow, he used the axe, he used the machete, he used whatever was around to be, the killer that he needed to be in that moment. And I like that a lot. In fact, now that I've talked about this so much, I want to rewatch Friday the 13th from 2009 and review that. So that might happen soon. Because it's an updated movie, I also like the updated kills in this movie as well. I mean, in the original movie, people were getting hit with mallets, people were getting cut up with chainsaws, but they seemed to cut away from the gore a lot in the 1978 version of it. It was more mentally terrifying than it was visually, and I feel like in this movie, they towed a nice balance of visually and mentally. Although there is one scene and I'm not going to necessarily dislike the movie for this, but there is one scene where one of the two girls in their group, when she gets killed by Leatherface, he like goes at her with a chainsaw and feathers from her coat come up, but you don't see any blood in that moment. You don't see any hands or feet. And there's moments where they do that to characters, but this character in particular, you don't even get to necessarily see her die. He just goes at her off screen, and then he cuts to going after Jessica Biel. I don't know if there was supposed to be like something extra with that character in a sequel potentially down the road. Maybe that was in her contract. And so they're like, well, we can't necessarily show her die, so we're just going to kind of do that in case we need her again in the future. She doesn't show back up in the movie, and they never made a sequel. So I don't know. But that was a little weird. That was a weird choice. I wonder what they were thinking there. For dislikes in the movie, I feel like the movie had to try and justify a 2-hour and 15-minute runtime. Like, the original movie is a lot shorter than that, but it gets to the point. It's 5 friends. They go in. Leatherface starts terrorizing them. They realize that he's sewing faces together and he's using them as his mask, and that's why his name is Leatherface. And then you realize that the whole family is involved in this, and they're all in it together, and they're all cannibals, and it's kind of grotesque, and it just hits you one after another after another after another, and it's done. And that's that movie. This movie has a whole subplot of like another family that was recently killed, and then the baby was stolen from that family, and then that baby was taken by other inbred people of this family. Like, there's a lot more family in this movie. In the original movie, I think there were 3 total: the dad, the messed up brother, and then you've got Leatherface. In this movie, there's a couple women involved. There's the grandma. The grandpa's alive with no legs. It's like they dragged this movie out sometimes, and it didn't need to be dragged out. Like the first movie, I think what gives it a little bit of rewatchability is the fact that you should know going into it, yes, it's going to be grotesque, and it's going to take a toll on you mentally as you watch it. You already know going in that it's going to be kind of a quick adventure, and you're going to be able to get out and go watch something to kind of cleanse your palate. With this movie, though, again, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, so there's a lot of runtime, and I feel like they were like, no, we got to do something, so let's tag in a storyline where Jessica Biel's character is actually going to go save that baby and rescue that baby and then bring that baby with her when she leaves town. I guess in the long run, the point I'm trying to make is that this movie feels like they need to pad the runtime, and you, the viewer, definitely feel that while viewing the movie. All in all, though, as far as a gory slasher movie goes, if that's your kind of stuff, then you'll enjoy this movie. It's got a lot of good gory kills. None of this movie is scary, though, so if you're like in it for the scares or the jump scares don't really work, and there is nothing really scary about this movie. I feel like there's aspects of the new Halloween movies or Friday the 13th, or any of those slasher genres that are genuinely kind of scary. Like, you see the killer from the background. At no point in this movie was I scared while I watched this movie. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a grown man watching a horror movie in the afternoon, but again, none of this movie felt scary to me, and that would have been a nice little twist if it had. I don't know. That was my thoughts. Overall, I didn't hate this movie. It's a movie that I'm glad I have in my Blu-ray collection, and a movie I will watch again at some point in the future. And that's my review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 reboot. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to share this review with your friends, make sure you do that by hitting the share button. If you have seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre starring Jessica Biel that was released in 2003, well, put your comments in the comment section down below and let's talk about it. And finally, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do that, because I got a lot of content coming your way, whether it's old movie reviews or new movie reviews. Like I said in yesterday's video, there's a lot of content coming your way. I'm looking forward to you guys seeing it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. After credit scene. Did you guys enjoy this? Like, I know that some people just enjoy movie reviews, but like, do you like my horror movie reviews? If you do, let me know like a horror movie you want me to review in the next month, and I'll do my best to review it.